Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente, and here's today's trends in the news. You know, a lot of liberals are very happy that George Bush and the Cheney group are no longer in power because of the atrocities that they committed, according to the liberals, particularly with the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, and their torture methods, which have been criticized worldwide. So they were happy that Obama is in office so that things could change. Here's some change you can believe in. The Obama administration was the party in a court case from someone that was tortured, and the court ruled in favor of the Obama team. Here's what the headline reads. Court dismisses a case asserting torture by CIA. A victory for Obama. Judges rule 6-5 that secret data might be jeopardized. That secret data, of course, is that showing that the person could have been innocent, but they can't show that data. So to discuss the torture policy of the United States and what it means to the future of democracy, we found in Argentina Hans Himmler. That's Heinrich Himmler's little boy. Well, he wasn't so little. He fought in the war, and we have him here today to speak about this issue of torture. Welcome, Mr. Himmler.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Celente, and it's high time that somebody spoke up for torture.
Well, that's why we brought you on.
Yeah, well.
Now, according to this case, the judge in the Ninth Circuit lawsuit, he said that this was a very painful decision for him to make, saying that, well, yes, these people have been tortured, but to protect security, he had to...
No, but that is not the point, is the national security or no security. The point is that the people got tortured and they experienced pain, which was much more painful than what the judges went through.
Well, the judge had a tough time with making this decision.
Well, but he should be tortured and understand what painful really means.
Well, according to him, he said this was painful.
Anyhow, get back to the point of why the torture is correct and why President Obama should be complimented on maintaining the program instigated by Bush and Cheney.
Well, it says here, in counterterrorism programs have in some ways departed from the expectations of change fostered by President Obama's campaign rhetoric, which was often sharply critical of former President Bush.
Well, that is the New York Times, is a bunch of wimps. This is not somewhat departed from the program. It's completely departed from the program and shows that he is on the right track.
You're saying that Obama's as bad as Bush?
Well, no, he's much worse because he expresses it in plain, simple English that most people can understand.
Well, it says over here, among other policies, the Obama National Security Team also authorized the CIA to try to kill a United States citizen suspected of terrorism in another country.
When I was in charge of the torture for the Nazis, suspected and guilty was exactly the same thing.
So it's the same thing.
Well, it's absolutely the same thing. So of course they should be authorized. Otherwise, what is government for?
Well, it also says here in this story from the New York Times that Moroccan interrogators, this is according to the guy that was tortured, held him for 18 months and subjected him to an array of tortures, including cutting his penis with a scalpel and then pouring a hot, stinging liquid on the open wounds.
That is what prisoners are for, to have their penises cut open. And when I was in charge of the SS, we routinely cut the penises open and sometimes cut them off, so they got something still to learn.
Well, maybe it was the stinging liquid that they put on, and maybe that was the state secret.
Depends what the stinging,
kind of stinging
well,
liquid
depends what kind of stinging liquid. We use schnapps.
It says Mr. Mohammad. So obviously he's guilty already.
Well, you got a name like Mohammad, of course you're guilty.
Of course, you know. Mr. Mohammad was later transferred back to the CIA, which he said flew him to a secret prison in Afghanistan. There, he said, he was held in a continuous darkness, fed sparsely, and subjected to loud noise like the recorded screams of a woman and children 24 hours a day. Now, would you consider that?
Well, that is just like normal married life. You listen to the screams of the women and the children.
And he's
so what are you complaining about that they held him for torture?
But
Nine.
he was later transferred again to a military prison at Guantanamo Bay, where he was held for an additional 5 years. He was released and returned to Britain in early 2009, and now is free. So, shouldn't he have the right that, I mean, after they've held this guy for what, how many years, about 6-7 years, he didn't do anything wrong, and they tortured him, and now he wants to sue for being tortured.
What's he complaining about? They let him loose. We would never have allowed him loose. We would have made sure that he stayed in jail and got tortured until he couldn't be tortured anymore. And here this guy gets out loose, and his name is Mohammad. What's the problem?
So, in other words, then, it is true that the Obama administration is more lenient than the Bush administration because they let this guy Mohammad out.
Well, yeah, that is right. And he should learn from this. If he wants to be successful, he shouldn't let these guys out. They're suspected, they should be tortured to death.
Well, just like they're sending those Predator drones into Pakistan and killing suspected militants. They
are suspected, and that is exactly the same thing as guilt.
Suspected and guilty.
We know all about this.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we lost the war.
Well, you'll have more opportunities the way you guys, you're in Afghanistan now, you were supposed to stay at home. But, there's a story that was also just reported, confessing to crime but innocent. And this story says how over 40 people since 1976 were convicted by overzealous prosecutors that really, kind of hid the evidence. So, if a persistent interrogator, if the person isn't strong enough to withstand torture, or in this case, in this one case, for instance, the guy took a lie detector test, and he passed the lie detector test, but the prosecutors, the DAs said that, and the police said he failed it. So they sent him to jail for life.
No, well, the lie detector was lying. That happens sometimes. When you got somebody you charged with a crime, and you're the prosecuting attorney, what means they use the language there? Persistent interrogator. No! Persistent interrogator. The whole idea is to put the guy away for life, no matter what he done, even if that's nothing.
Well, some of these people were also mentally disabled.
Yeah, well, serves them right. They're mentally disabled. They get in trouble with the police. Only if you're real smart do you not get in trouble with the police.
And you didn't have mentally disabled. You got rid of them right away, right?
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes they weren't even that mentally disabled, and we got rid of them anyway.
Because they didn't meet the profile.
Well, they didn't meet the profile. Well, that was the whole problem, was the profile.
So there you have it. The Obama administration is not as bad as the Bush administration when it comes to torture. Because after all, this guy only served 8 or 9 years in jail and tortured, but they let him free. And this is Gerald Celente, and that was today's Trends in the News. And we heard it firsthand from our source, from the top. Well, actually, we got him from down at the bottom, from Argentina, Hans Himmler. Hans, thanks for coming all the way up to Kingston, New York, to talk about this torturous issue.
Thank you very much. And in departing, let me say, Heil Obama!
Okay, you got it.